Hi everyone, it's Kerry-Jean Watson. Today I want to show you some tips and tricks on printing. I'll start off with the 6x6 or the card maker set rather. My papers are designed on 8.5 by 11 inches, which is US letter, but you can quite easily print these on A4 for those countries that actually have A4. So I just wanted to go through how I go about printing my digital papers so that hopefully it makes things a little less confusing for you. So I've downloaded and unzipped the digital paper pack, and I've now got in the card maker set three JPEG files, and I want to print all three at the same time. I don't use any special program. I actually use Windows to print, so I'll select all three of them so that they're all selected and all highlighted, and then I will right click on my mouse and I'll just go to print. That brings up the print picture profile. Now I've got my printer selected, I've got my paper size selected, and you can select what quality you want to do it at and also what type of paper you're using. Now, one of the other things that I tend to pay attention to is within options and your printer properties, you have the option to use borderless or border printing. Now what this means is if you do border printing, it's going to, and I don't know if you can actually see that very clearly on this video, but it will leave a white, very thin border around the edge of the paper. Now I tend to, if I'm going to be printing the card maker set, which is what I'm going to be doing now, I will actually change my paper type to maybe a matte paper. And you see that borderless option becomes available for me to use. And I'll just select that. It'll end up telling me that it may not work very well, blah, blah, blah. I tend to just go, okay, because it works for me. So, and then I hit OK in my printer preferences. And you'll see on my preview within the Windows print window is there's no more little white band on the edge. Now the other thing to pay attention to is the fit to frame tick box. When I'm printing the card maker set, the 8.5 by 11 and yeah, those two, I always, as well as the 12-inch by 12-inch papers, the large format, I always have it set to fit picture to frame. It means it's going to print as big as possible. So I will set this to print, and then I'll end up popping over to the other camera and actually showing you how this turned out. So as I was mentioning with the fit to frame tick box, it's quite important when you're working with the 12 by 12 and you're printing onto A4 or even in this situation if you are wanting to print this onto letter size paper, this is where you need to pay attention to that tick box in print. You see how it's filling up the size of the paper preview. If I untick that, it will actually fit it into the A4 page really nice and snugly. And again, I'm making sure I've got a paper selection that is borderless, so it's going right up to the edge. So for those who are wanting to print my 12 by 12s as A4 size and actually have them as a Midori insert or booklet, this is the way you do it. So make sure, and the most important thing is making sure that you are printing with borderless print profile. Now this is an Epson, as you can see it says Epson up the top. So this is what my print profile and print properties looks like. Every printer is different. Of course I can't go through every printer because I do not have every printer, but these are the basics, and they're sort of standard across all printers. This is my quality option, these are my paper options, my ink levels, and as you can see I'm sort of running a bit low. So that is how most printers work. Most printers do have a borders and borderless option. Again, if you're working with a Mac, I'm not sure how it translates, but I'm pretty sure it'll all be pretty much the same. So remember, if you're printing a Midori or you're wanting to print a full A4 page as the full square of the 12 by 12, this is how you do it. You need to make sure that tick box for fit picture to frame is unticked, or else you're going to end up with that kind of page. Okay, now let me show you printing the 8.5 by 11, which is the same sort of situation. So at the moment I've got my printer size paper, my quality size, and also the type of paper I'm using, and again it's borderless unless if I choose another paper option, which is usually plain paper, then it will give me borders. So at the moment my fit picture to frame is ticked. Watch the preview window when I untick it. It just comes in that little bit and you end up with the extra detail on the edge. And there it goes. So it's up to you which way you want to do that. Of course, if you're printing all of this, these paper packs in the US and you're printing on 8.5 by 11 letter size, it'll print fine. This is mainly for people who are printing onto A4. I will actually print one of those out and I will show you when I go over to the other camera. And I will actually print that as fitted. As unfitted, sorry. Now we get to the book kit. And my ink is low. The book kit is a little bit different because I've actually put them into PDF files. So your covers are all in one file. And I'm using, oh, I don't know what I'm using. I'm using Foxit Read. Okay, so this is your spine, bit of ephemera, your cover, and your cover liner. And you can use those however you choose to use them. Whatever binding method you want to use or anything like that. So, to print from my PDF viewing software, I generally go to the printer. That one there. Now as you can see, it's chopping off a bit there. That's because I have no scaling on. So if I want to fit to print margins, it's going to be a bit short. Now this is going to be better because when you get to your book pages are going to be a little bit, they're going to fit the page a bit too snugly because they fill up as much of the page as possible. With the cover and the spine and the cover liner, if you want as much real estate as possible, then I would go to no scaling. And you print that off as per usual. Now we will get to the ephemera. Is in a PDF by itself as well. So that's all of your ephemera in one file. And we go to the print process again. For the ephemera, I would print to fit margins. So it'll be a little bit smaller, which is fine. It means it's going to, in terms of aspect ratio, it's going to fit your book pages. I won't print that off because I've actually got a copy of that already. I just wanted to show you how to do the printing. And finally, we have the actual pages. And this is the one I wanted to show you. Now you see, this is 8.5 by 11 inch page. And you see there's not a lot of room up there. So if I go into my print profile and go fit pages, just fits them into the page a little bit nicer. And this is how I end up printing my book. So your book size will be dictated by the size of your actual pages, and it means that you can make your cover a little bit bigger if you want, and you can have that overhang. And I think that is all for now, and I will now, before I leave the book kit, with the book kit, of course, I always add in a file for lining the back of the pages, which is this file here, and you print it the same way you print your card maker set. So right click and print, and as you can see it's ticked to fit picture frame, because if you untick it, it ends up missing a bit of the book page. So make sure it is set to fit picture to frame, and then you basically just flip your pages over and let them print on the back. Anyway, I'll show you how those print out on the other camera, so I'll see you in a bit. So I've printed everything out. This is the card maker set, and as you can see, it fits the paper beautifully. It's printed out really well, and as I've mentioned before, I have a really old, simple inkjet printer, and it comes out really well. This has been printed on 80 GSM paper. It comes out really well on 200 GSM. This is the 8.5 by 11 inch that has been scaled to fit. No, not to fit, sorry. So it sort of prints it as well as can be. It's come up really great. I love the texture and the detail. This has also been printed on in a low quality, which was image and text as well. I don't need to print on high quality because, as you can see, it comes out really well on a low quality, which means I'm actually not using as much ink. All of the stuff I print at home, I don't print as high quality unless I'm printing photos, which I just do at photo quality. You can do them at, you know, high quality, like really fine quality. I find that printing at a lower quality, I'm still getting good results, and also I'm putting stuff on these papers, so having something as, you know, high crisp definition, it's really not going to mean that much. So again, I print on a lower quality. I'm economical with my printer ink. I have got generics in here and genuine inks in here in this printer, and I haven't noticed the difference. So that's the 8.5 by 11 inches. So this is the book cover, the book kit cover, and that is how big it comes out printing as the scale to fit. No, not scale to fit, sorry. No scaling. Scaling means that it will bring this one down, and my printer has started running out of one of the colours because that one is a little bit streaky, but I will actually still use that because I'm going to throw matte medium at that, I'm going to throw texture paint, I'm going to throw all sorts of stuff at it. So I'm not overly worried about the quality of print that I'm trying to get. I'm not trying to get a really crisp, high definition. I want to get a texture down on a piece of paper that I can put down somewhere else behind a photo, tucked in with medium and multi-medium stuff on it. So that's just how I roll. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them below. Remember to subscribe to my newsletter for any specials that I might be running, and also follow my Facebook for any new and upcoming collections. apart from that, head to www.kerry-jeanwatson.com and check out what collections I have. The collection you've been seeing in these videos is the Cafe au Lait, which has been quite popular. And what else? Also, if you make any projects with my products, please send me a link. I'd really love to see them, and I might even end up featuring them on my Facebook and blog. So let me see what you're making. Happy crafting!